Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara. I usually do horror movie reviews, but today we're going to do something different and we're going to talk about a film that, I guess you can argue is a horror movie, but it's not really. Requiem for a Dream is an incredible film. And this year marks the 25th anniversary of the film's release. So I thought we would do a deep dive into what the issues are. Now, you're thinking, okay, it's drugs, but drugs are not really the issue here. And I'm going to talk about what the one thing that I think is the main issue and the reason why they turn to drugs. We'll talk about it and we'll go through each character and we'll assess what happened. The film is directed by Darren Aronofsky and it is extremely hard to watch. You could probably only watch it once. We follow four people as their lives down spiral because of their drug addiction. We follow Sara Goldfarb and Harry Goldfarb, her son, who is dating someone named Marion, and then they have a friend named Tyrone. And all four of these people, their lives just fall apart. And the last 20 minutes of the film is extremely hard to watch. Now, I saw it when it first came out 25 years ago, and I watched it recently, and I have a completely different outlook on the film. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, drugs are bad, don't do drugs. But then I watched it a second time and I realized that there's something else that these people were going through. They suffered from. It wasn't just addiction. And I have a completely different outlook and I want to talk about it with you guys. So let's analyze each character and let's talk about what the real issue was for all four of these people. So what is it? What's the issue? If it's not drugs, what is the issue in all four of these people's lives? The real issue is abandonment. And I realized all four of them experience abandonment. And in order to mask that pain, they use substances. They turn to substances. And that's why it's so important, I think, to get a hold of your issues before you turn to substances to try to heal your issues. If you see yourself in any of these people, like if you're like, oh my God, I think I'm heading down that road, we'll talk about what you can do. I mean, I'm not a therapist, I'm not an expert in this, but I think that there's something you can do to help not go down this road because this is not something you ever want to experience. And this is something that so many people experience. Someone right now is experiencing what these people are going through right now. So let's talk about it and let's talk about how you can help yourself and not go down this road. The first person I want to talk about is Sara Goldfarb, the mom, Harry's mom. So when I first saw this movie, I saw each character differently, but when I watched this older, I really resonated with Sara more. Like Sara just hits home for me. Like it's very hard to watch because I'm like, oh my God, is that going to be me? Like I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's just how I felt watching this. I was like, ooh, she is hitting really close to home. So what we know about Sara is that her husband passed away and her son Harry moved out. He's older. So she really doesn't have anyone. She is very lonely. There is the one iconic scene where she's at the kitchen table and she's telling Harry, her son, how lonely she is. That's probably one of the best monologues I've ever seen. Like there's no way you cannot cry after watching that. And again, like if you're at a certain age or a certain time in your life, it's going to hit close to home, like it did with me. And it is extremely hard to watch. Fun fact is that Ellen Bernstein, who plays Sara Goldfarb, she actually was nominated for an Oscar for her role as Sara, but she lost to Julia Roberts, who did Erin Brockovich. I've never seen Erin Brockovich, so I can't say like, oh, that's fair or not. I don't know. But yeah, she was nominated for an Oscar. So well deserved. Incredible performance. So we know that her husband died, and obviously he didn't abandon her. But to some people, this can absolutely feel like an abandonment, like you left me. But obviously that doesn't make sense because the person died. Like they didn't abandon her. Like she wasn't abandoned. But I think the loss of her husband hit her very hard. There is also the red dress. There's a lot of talk about the red dress where she wants to fit into it. She wants to be on TV. She wants to be someone. And she talks about how her husband looked at her when he saw her in this red dress. That's why the red dress meant so much to her. And I feel like Sara is just very stuck on her husband, her loneliness, the way he looked at her. And she just couldn't get past that. And she is just sitting with her loneliness. She is very, very lonely. And she just wants to fit into the red dress. So when I saw this movie, I was like, oh, Sara went down that, she started losing her sanity when she started taking the diet pills. And I actually don't think this is true. She started losing her sanity before she went on the diet pills. So there's a scene where she gets a call from someone saying she's going to be on TV. That never happened. That was all in her head. There's also the scene where she's going to mail the letter and she's with all her friends. The mailman also hands her a letter and then she's going to go mail it. She's walking to the mailbox with all her friends. I don't think that scene ever, that did not happen. That was all in her head. She was slipping, her sanity was slipping before she was on the diet pills. And she went on the pills and that's when things just went south. Let's talk about Harry Goldfarb, who also experiences abandonment. His father passed away. And again, it's not like his father picked up and left and abandoned them. He passed away. So again, it's not abandonment, but it can absolutely feel like an abandonment. Some people even think like, oh, why'd you leave me? Why'd you leave me? But of course, it doesn't make sense if the person died. But for some people, the passing away of a loved one can feel like abandonment. Also, I think he was probably abandoned by his mother emotionally because she just seems so distraught of the death of her husband that she probably neglected Harry in the process. Like she also is grieving a father, the loss of a father. So maybe she was just so distraught and that she neglected Harry. So it could have been the abandonment of two parents. And that does not feel good. Your needs are not neglected. So how do you deal with that pain? Harry has Miriam, who you can tell he really loves her. I think he also wants to be loved by Miriam. The two of them together, it's real love, but it's going down a dangerous road. Now, Miriam, let's talk about her. She experiences abandonment as well, but not in the same way that Sara and Harry experience abandonment. It seems like her parents neglect her, like they don't really attune to her needs. It seems like they just give her money and they gave her money for a therapist and they were just like, you do whatever you want. And they're just not there. They're just not present. That is an abandonment as well. Just because they didn't pick up and leave, they may as well have if they're not going to be there emotionally. Just because they're there physically, it doesn't make a difference. And it is really hurtful when parents do that, when they just neglect their kids' emotional needs. She turns to Harry for stability and love because she does not get that from her parents. But she's going down a slippery slope with Harry because he has an addiction. She also has an addiction, and it's just going down a really dangerous road when you don't have your needs met, when you are experiencing things like abandonment. And lastly, let's talk about Tyrone, played by Marilyn Winans. Incredible performance. He again experiences abandonment. So what we know about Tyrone is that he has flashbacks of his mom when he was little. So it seems like his mom is not around. Again, I think maybe she passed away. Again, it can feel like an abandonment. A family member is taken away, they're gone. That can feel like you've been abandoned. Of course, that doesn't make sense because they did not abandon you, they passed away. So we get flashbacks of Tyrone with his mom. So there's that really famous scene with the mirror where he's looking in the mirror and he's like replaying a scene from his childhood of him running up to his mom, hugging her, and her saying to him, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. That is the type of love he craves so deeply. It is the type of love we all crave. All four of these people crave that type of love, and they don't have it. And it seems like Tyrone had it taken away. Again, I think his mom passed away. And then he's looking in the mirror, and then there's a girl in the background, I think someone he's dating, and she's like, "Oh, you come into bed, what are you thinking about?" And he's like, "I'm thinking about you." And then he goes, they're like, they're intimate. And yeah, I think he is seeking the love that he has that need for love, but he's seeking for it in a romantic way. We all do this. We didn't get enough love at home, so we seek for it in romantic relationships. We're not expecting romantic, like anything sexual with our parents. It's just that we all have needs for love, and if we don't have that, if we don't get that, we look for it romantically. But what's worse, having that love, that parents' love, and then have it taken away? Or what if you're like Miriam and you just never had that, and you're just craving that, you're seeking it, you're trying to mask the pain of never having it? What's worse, having it taken away or just never experiencing it? And what happens towards the end? Their heroin addiction gets the best of them. I'm talking about Harry, Miriam, and Tyrone. So Tyrone ends up in a Florida prison, which I'm sure as a person of color would not be fun. Miriam ends up being a prostitute. There is a really hard scene to watch of her being degraded. It's very hard to watch, and it is not a path that anyone wants to go down. And Harry unfortunately has his arm cut off because he was shooting up on the same arm. Um, and he wakes up and he's alone. He's alone in the hospital. And finally, Sara, probably the saddest one. I mean, yeah, all these people's lives are sad, but Sara was really sad. It's a sad one to watch because she ends up in a mental institution, and she is like not even like able like to form a sentence. She's still though in that waiting to be on TV, waiting for Harry to come in with his wife, and he has a business and he's doing well. Like she just has those dreams, and the dreams will never come true. So, what is something that they could have done? All four of these people could have done something, and this could have helped not go down this path. It's important to never start this path of going down a heroin addiction, because heroin is extremely addicting. So, what is something that they could have done? Something that all four of these people could have done before going down their drug addictions is going to therapy. Now, I know Miriam had a therapist, an awful therapist. Like, it's just absolutely disgusting what she went through. So, find yourself a good therapist. For example, if Sara had gotten a therapist before when her husband died to grieve and talk about what she was going through and how she felt and the loneliness, even developing a relationship with a therapist, she would have felt a lot less lonely. I think she wouldn't have gone down that road of hallucinating and just being in the waiting, and the loneliness would have been a lot less if she had gone to therapy. I also think she should have started dating. I think if she started dating someone else, she probably would have been a lot less lonelier. She wouldn't just be sitting around waiting to die, basically. Harry and Miriam also, again, poor Miriam, had a therapist, but he was horrible. But the two of them should have gone to therapy. Miriam should have gotten a good therapist just to deal with her issues. And then Harry should have really been at therapy. Maybe the two of them, Sara and Harry, should have gone to family therapy to grieve the loss of her husband and father. And Tyrone, again, when he lost his mom, he should have talked about his feelings and the grieving of losing his mom. If you're losing a loved one, the best thing to do is talk about it, develop a trusting relationship with the therapist. You'll feel a lot less alone, and it absolutely would help them all. I'm not saying that for sure they wouldn't have gone down this road, but if they were able to talk out their feelings and heal, they would have not needed substances to mask their pain and to not have to feel their pain. And if you feel like you're going down this road, if you are turning to substances, if you're feeling what they're feeling, go to therapy. That is the best solution. There is no magic solution. There is no magic dose, pill, nothing. Like, it is talking out your feelings and going to a good therapist who you can trust and building that trusting relationship. But I absolutely love this movie. Of course, it's hard to watch, but it is an incredible movie, from the haunting score to the beautiful cinematography. The dreamy, like, cinematography is just incredible. And everyone's performances, Ellen Burstyn, Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, Marilyn Winans, like, absolutely incredible in this movie. And I know this isn't a horror movie, but there are so many dark horror elements to this, like the fridge scene, when Helen is hallucination. Sorry, Sara is hallucinating and the fridge starts coming alive. Like, that was really scary. Also, when Sara is in the doctor's office and she's seeing things, like she's not seeing things clearly, that that scared me. I remember that was in the trailer and it really scared me. I also think the scene where Harry's about to have his arm cut off and he's running to the boardwalk, like through the boardwalk to Marion, and then he falls. Like, that scene was really disturbing. Like, that, it felt like a horror movie. And that's just the brilliance of Darren Aronofsky. Like, the way he makes his films make you feel, like, just absolutely incredible. Again, this is a very hard watch, but if you can stomach it, please watch it, because this is like a master class in film. Like, please watch it if you can stomach it. Read up on trigger warnings too. And that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give this film recognition, and I'm so glad we have it. And basically, it is the best anti-drug movie you could ever watch. But yeah, the main themes, I think, are abandonment, healing your wounds, and not turning to substances. So, again, if you feel like you're going down this road, go to therapy. So, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you think that abandonment was present in all of these people's lives? Do you think that if they weren't feeling abandonment, do you think that they would have headed down the road of drugs? Also, do you feel like going to therapy would have helped? Like, I really do think that it would have. But what do you think? Let me know. And have you seen the film? Like, if you haven't, please do. Uh, if you like this video, please like it and then subscribe, because I am going to be posting more videos, mostly horror movies though. So if you like horror movies, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.